You know those days where you feel like you're running on a hamster wheel? You're busy from morning till night, but at the end of it all, you feel like you've gotten absolutely nowhere? Well, today we're going to dive into a brilliantly simple tool designed to fix exactly that, helping you stop being just busy and start being truly productive.
So, let me just ask you this. When your head hits the pillow at night, do you feel accomplished or just drained? There is a massive difference between being busy and being productive, and confusing those two things is probably the biggest trap we all fall into.
And let's be honest about what this actually looks like. On one side, you've got busyness. That's when you're just reacting to things. You have a million different priorities, and you just feel totally overwhelmed. But on the other side, you've got productivity. That's about planning your work, having just a few key priorities, and feeling like you're in the driver's seat. Our goal here is to get you out of the chaos and into that zone of control.
So, how in the world do we make that happen? Well, the answer comes from a timeless framework used by one of history's most effective leaders, U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower. The guy was an absolute master of getting the right things done, and his system is just as powerful today as it was decades ago.
The tool is called the Eisenhower Matrix, and it's all built on two incredibly simple but profound questions you ask about everything on your to-do list. Is this urgent, and is this important? Because, and this is the key, those two words are not the same thing. Understanding that difference changes everything.
And this is it. This is the entire framework, and it's just beautiful in its simplicity. You've got a simple grid. Across the top, things are either urgent or not urgent. Down the side, they're either important or not important. Literally every single thing you have to do fits somewhere in one of these four boxes. So let's break it down. All right, we're going to walk through each of these four quadrants, one by one. This is where you learn to take that chaotic mess of a to-do list and turn it into a crystal clear plan of attack.
First up, Quadrant 1. These are the tasks that are both urgent and important. You can just think of this as the firefighting quadrant. These are the things that are screaming for your attention right now, and they're critical for your goals.
So what does this look like in the real world? We're talking about a client crisis, a huge project deadline that's due today, or a family emergency. These are the things you absolutely, positively cannot ignore. The action for anything in Quadrant 1 is super simple. Do it now. You tackle these things immediately, and you do them yourself. They are your number one priority, no questions asked.
Okay, let's move on to Quadrant 2. And honestly, if you take one thing away from this, this is it. This is where the magic really happens. These tasks are important, but they are not urgent. This isn't the quadrant where you react. It's the quadrant where you create, you grow, you build the future you want. This is stuff like long-term strategic planning, exercising and taking care of your health, learning a new skill for your career, or investing quality time in your relationships. See, none of them have a screaming deadline, which is precisely why we so often put them off. But these activities are what prevent future crises and lead to real, lasting success. So the action here is to schedule it. You have to be proactive. You have to literally block out time on your calendar for these things, because if you don't schedule them, they just won't happen. And even worse, when you neglect them, they eventually turn into those Quadrant 1 fires that you're forced to put out later.
Now for Quadrant 3, urgent but not important. This one's tricky. This is the quadrant of deception, and it's a huge trap. These tasks feel productive because they're urgent. Your phone buzzes, an email pings, someone interrupts you, but they don't actually move you any closer to your real goals. This is where most of those endless emails, random phone calls, and got-a-minute interruptions live. They feel urgent, for sure, but they're usually urgent for somebody else, not important to your core mission. So your move here is to delegate. If you can pass the task off to someone else, do it. If you can't, can you automate it? Can you use an email template, or can you just learn to politely say no? The goal is to spend as little time and energy here as you possibly can.
And finally, we land in Quadrant 4. These are the things that are neither urgent nor important. Let's just call this what it is, the quadrant of pure distraction.
We all know exactly what these are, right? Mindlessly scrolling through social media, binge watching a show you don't even really like, or any of those other time-wasting activities that give you absolutely zero value in return.
The strategy for Quadrant 4 is the most direct one of all. Eliminate. Seriously, be ruthless here. You have to see these activities for the time thieves they are and just cut them out. This is all about reclaiming your time for stuff that actually matters.
Okay, So the theory makes sense, but how do you actually turn this into a daily habit? It's actually really straightforward.
This slide lays out the game plan perfectly. First, just do a brain dump of everything you need to do. Second, go through that list and sort every single item into one of the 4 quadrants. Then, all you have to do is execute. Handle Quadrant 1 fires, work on your scheduled Quadrant 2 goals, delegate Quadrant 3 stuff, and just stay away from Quadrant 4. That's it. It's your daily roadmap to clarity.
So why is the simple little grid so powerful? It's because it fundamentally changes your relationship with time. It helps you shift from being a firefighter, always reacting to the next urgent crisis, to being an architect, deliberately and carefully building the life you actually want.
And this quote just nails it. The more time you can spend in Quadrant 2, on that proactive, important stuff, the fewer fires you'll have to put out in Quadrant 1. You stop living in a constant state of reaction, and you start building your own future on your own terms.
So I'll leave you with this. The fastest way to find more time for what's important isn't to work faster or harder, it's to stop doing what's not important. So take a good, hard look at your day and ask yourself, what's one thing from Quadrant 4 that you can eliminate starting right now?